In this video, we counting down the best American thriller movies. Let's begin. Number 10, Dark Waters.
You knew. Still you did nothing.
Everyone should experience this film. You all should know exactly what happened, what we have all been exposed to. Just about every single one of you watching this video has the chemical in your system that this film is exploring. Dark Waters was directed by Todd Haynes and stars Mark Ruffalo as a corporate defense attorney. And that's because a farmer in Ohio reports to this lawyer that 190 of his cows have died. Their teeth were rotted out. Some of them had tumors, and residents in this town have black teeth, and some of their children are born with facial deformities. This is the true story of Robert Ballard, a lawyer, who went up against DuPont for these extreme things. Dark Waters is a 2019 American legal thriller film, and it received positive reviews from critics.
You want to flush your career down the toilet for some cowhand?
Number 9, Gerald's Game.
Let's go in, get comfy.
Gerald's Game is directed by Mike Flanagan. It's about Jesse and Gerald, an older couple, who have lost their romantic flame, and they go to an old cottage in the middle of nowhere to have a sexual fantasy and discover some romance again. He chains her to the bed with handcuffs, and then he has a heart attack and dies. The cleaning people aren't due to show up in quite some time. They have cut themselves off from their friends. No one's coming to rescue Jesse. They also left the front door open, and there's a rabid dog outside that's getting hungry. It's about a woman with a past that's very horrific, and this horrible situation she finds herself in which she begins to flashback to all of those times in her life, and it connects to her present, and she realizes why she is the person she is now, and it's sort of like a self-discovery for her. 𝘀𝗂𝗯𝗀𝗏 in this movie is faced with an insurmountable task. She has 99% of the screen time. She is handcuffed for the majority of the movie. Gerald's Game is a 2017 American psychological horror thriller film. It received very positive reviews from critics, who lauded 𝘀𝗂𝗯𝗀𝗏's performance and Flanagan direction.
If you don't wake up, you're gonna die.
Number 8, The Devil All the Time.
This was your daddy's.
In between small towns in the Midwest, the lives of many people intersect through brutality and corruption. The film has an unseen narrator, who tells the story of the lives of Willard, played by Bill Skarsgård, and Arvin, played by Tom Holland. The story begins before Arvin is born, but it builds all of the circumstances in which his life is going to be framed. Bill Skarsgård and Haley Bennett play his parents. They're semi-poor, but they're really hard-working. They're living in a small house in the woods in really a very small town, and the setting is post-World War II. Skarsgård as Willard is semi-religious and has a deep conviction for justice. The Devil All the Time is a 2020 American psychological thriller crime drama film, directed by Antonio Campos. This is a patient movie. Some people might find it slow, and the acting is wonderful. There's a lot of profanity and some brutal violence. It received mixed reviews from critics, who praised the performances of Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson. Number 7, Hush. Author lives in a cabin in the middle of the woods, and she's trying to write her book while being stalked by somebody psychotic. This movie has a very interesting hooks, one of them being that this killer doesn't want to come inside yet. He just wants to mess around with her for a while. He wants to play a sadistic game with her. And the other is that she's mute and deaf. The film was a great thrill ride. It's very well acted. It's simply a thriller. It's an 87-minute movie with a woman who has a perceived disability, and she has to use her disability to her advantage to try to figure out how to get out of this situation while this crazy guy's outside, and all of her technology is gone. She has no cell phone, the power is out, and you have this one secluded location, and they make the best use of it. It also turns a lot of horror cliches on end. Hush is a very short film that is contained in one location with a woman in peril, and you have to watch as she cleverly figures out ways to get out of these situations. Number 6, Split. Kevin, who is suffering from dissociative identity disorder, and he has 23 different personalities living inside his head, and one of them has kidnapped 3 girls. He's holding them captive somewhere for an undisclosed reason, and the film cuts back and forth between these girls trying to figure out how to get out, and James McAvoy visiting Betty Buckley, who plays a psychologist. Split is a 2016 American psychological thriller film, written, directed and produced by M. Night Shyamalan. It received generally positive reviews from critics, who highly praised McAvoy's performance and welcomed Shyamalan's direction. Split was a commercial success, grossing $278 million worldwide on a budget of $9 million. The camera work is brilliant, and the lighting is superb. This is a great-looking movie. Number 5, Mother. Jennifer Lawrence's character is named Mother, and Javier Bardem's character has named him. He's trying to write a poem. He's a very famous poet, but he has serious writer's block. She's trying to restore their idyllic country home, a paradise they've created together to seclude themselves from everyone else. Suddenly a visitor shows up, Edie Harris, then later his wife shows up, Michelle Pfeiffer. However, when uninvited guests come barging in, the couple's life turns chaotic and shocking events unfold. Mother is a 2017 American psychological horror film, written and directed by Darren Aronofsky. The cinematography is extremely well done, the color and look of this house, the way the wood creaks, is extremely good, and the performances is top-notch. It's a special and unique film that is going to cause people to talk. This movie is weird and many people are not going to like it, although it received generally positive reviews from critics. Number 4, Argo.
The civilized world.
Argo is the true story that takes place during the Iranian hostage crisis that was in the late 70s to early 80s. This movie's directed by Ben Affleck and stars him as well. It's about this one guy. They're trying to come up with an idea to get these 6 hostages out of Iran. Argo is a 2012 American historical drama thriller film. It's a really intense dramatic thriller, and it has a great sense of realism to the drama. The film was intense, it was dramatic, it was well acted, it was heartfelt, it was very touching. I really think it's one of the better films of the 2012. The film also earned 5 Golden Globe Award nominations, and it won Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Director.
You really believe your little story is going to make a difference when there's a gun to our head?
Number 3, Run.
Will she be okay?
This film tells the story of a young girl who begins to suspect that her caring mother might be harboring a dark secret. She starts to notice some concerning irregularities with the way her mom acts, and she doesn't want her to be on the internet at night. She doesn't want her to make too many phone calls unless she's in the room. There are things about the medicine she's taking that's starting to weird. It's very simple. It's a young girl in a wheelchair who realizes that she is trapped in a lot of ways, emotionally and physically, and how's she going to get out of that situation, and we get to watch that play out over 90 minutes. Run is a 2020 American psychological thriller film directed by Anish Shiganti. This film is told very traditionally and classically. This film is skillfully made and extremely well acted from top to bottom, and the simplicity only helps boost the suspense. I think it's worth seeing. Also, film received generally positive reviews. It became Hulu's most successful original film upon its release.
You need me.
Number 2, Nocturnal Animals.
Were you sleeping?
You know me. I never sleep.
Nocturnal Animals is a very different and unconventional film. If you're the type of audience member that enjoys a film that causes you to think afterwards, that makes you want to go back and see it again through a different viewpoint, I think you're really going to appreciate this movie. Nocturnal Animals is directed by Tom Ford and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, and is 3 narratives combined into one to tell a very complex story. In the present day, Amy Adams plays an artist who receives a manuscript written by her ex-husband, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. She begins to read this book, and then we visualize her reading the book, and we see that story played out, and we also flash back to the past to see how Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal originally met. And so we have 3 stories combined into one. This is a very unique movie and a very unique way of telling its story. Nocturnal Animals was really well directed, extremely well acted, very tense, and you can really enjoy it. But as you began to put more thought into it, in the various visuals that Tom Ford utilized in this movie, you began to realize how the 3 storylines really interconnect to make a deeper film. Before we unveil number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Number 1, The Gift. The Gift is a 2015 psychological thriller film, written and directed by Joel Edgerton, as well as starring Jason Bateman, Rebecca Hall, and Joel Edgerton. And this film is about a very creepy guy who keeps coming by the new house of Jason Bateman and Rebecca Hall, who are a happily married couple. He's leaving them presents, he's buying them goldfish, he's writing them personal notes, and he's showing up inexplicably all around town wherever they happen to be. But it's not just about a creepy stalker, it's really about how the past can haunt you, how an idea can seep into someone's mind, even if it's not true, and how all of these things can come to a head in an incredibly surprising dramatic thriller with actually a very well-directed movie. This film is expertly built to sneak up on you. The Gift is a great movie. I thought it was an extremely well-crafted thriller. Well, this is it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, and we missed your favorite movie, let us know in the comments.